The next speaker is Jenny Carson. Jenny Carson is a project manager at the European Transport Safety Council, responsible for the PIN Road Safety Performance Index program. She joined the European Transport Safety Council in 2020 and has worked on European policy since 2000. She was previously at the East of England Regional Office in Brussels. She holds a BA in Modern Language and European Studies from the University of Bath, UK. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you very much. So first, a little bit about the PIN program, which I manage at ETSC. So it stands for the Road Safety Performance Index program. And it's a project in which we benchmark the road safety performance of 32 countries. So we have the 27 EU member states, and then also the UK, Norway, Switzerland, Israel, and the Republic of Serbia. And we really look at the state of road safety in all of those countries. We have one person in each of those countries that provides us with the data and the information on what's going on in their country. We have a steering group that looks at an overarching view of the project. And every year we publish 3 reports, so an annual report looking really at the state of road deaths and serious injuries, and 2 thematic reports on a different topic, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, a report we published last year particularly on power two-wheelers. We also hold a number of webinars, and we held a webinar also on power two-wheelers at the end of last year, and you can find that on our website. Along the bottom of the screen, you see the sponsors of the PIN program. We're very grateful to them for their support. And a small map to see the kind of benchmarking that we do using traffic light colors for progress in road safety. So this is the report. I have one copy with me of the document that I will talk about today. So firstly, the scale of the problem. What is the situation regarding motorcycle power two-wheeler safety in the 32 countries that we cover? So we found that over 45,000 power two-wheeler users have been killed on European roads in the last 10 years. And if we look at the graph, we can see the progress in reducing those deaths between 2011 and 2021. And we can see that overall, motorcycle deaths have been declining more slowly than moped deaths, but also all other road deaths. So motorcycle deaths decreased by 25%, power two-wheeler deaths, by 25%, and all other deaths by 33%. So there's a big difference there, and there's obviously a lot of work still to be done. Another way to look at the safety of the roads of a particular country is through road risk. So here we look at kilometers traveled, the distance traveled by a certain vehicle, road user. It's very difficult data to gather, so there's not a lot of countries that can provide it to us. But here we have the countries that were. And I think one of the most important messages from this graph is that we can see that the countries that have overall good road safety are also safest for power two-wheelers. And I'm thinking here particularly of Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Sweden. All have very good, very high road safety generally, and it works also for it passes it on to the power two-wheelers. Next, we look at the issue of age. Now, this graph also shows a gender aspect, which is very stark, obviously, and I'll talk more about that later. But I think here, what's important to look at is the reduction in the number of younger power two-wheeler users that have been killed. So we have the dotted line is 2011, and the thick line is 2021. And we can see a big reduction in the number of particularly 14 to 23-year-olds that are no longer killed in 2021. What's perhaps also interesting is the spike here in the number of midlifers who are now more being killed in 2021 than they were in 2011. And I think that's an important message for policymakers. We made some changes to the driving license directive, and we at ETSC believe that it could be presumed that that has had an impact. You can no longer drive a power two-wheeler without a test. The recommended age for driving the smaller vehicles was set at 16. So we presume that some of those changes in the driving license directive could have impacted this drop in particularly the younger drivers. I mentioned gender in the last slide as well. Motorcycling safety is a male problem. 9 out of 10 power two-wheeler users killed are men. And you can see here the different proportions across the 32 countries. It's true that men drive motorcycles, power two-wheelers, more than women. We do also have a graph for mopeds, where the proportions for females are slightly higher, but really there's very little difference. So that's the data, that's the information we have in terms of the data, but what can we do to address the issue? What can we do to try and improve power two-wheeler safety? And so in our report, we look at a number of different, what we call countermeasures, things that we can do. So I mentioned age already. The young rider age is a risk factor in power two-wheelers, and we need to make sure that we are setting the age of access to power two-wheelers appropriately. I mentioned before that the age in the driving license directive for the smaller vehicles, the recommended age is 16, and yet in our report, 18 of the PIN countries have a lower age for that. So it's something to think about. We have graduated access now as well through the driving license directive, which is welcome as well. But then we need to look at this issue of the midlifers. The skills, we need to improve the driver and rider skills. We need to make sure that they are trained in safety, in risk awareness, and we also need to obviously improve the skills of the car drivers to make sure that they are aware also of power two-wheelers. Infrastructure, the things that can be done on infrastructure. We have some nice examples in our report of work that they are doing in different countries, perhaps around safer guardrails that are power two-wheeler friendly, projects trying to guide riders safely around bends on tight rural roads. There's a lot of examples in our report. The safety of the machines. We know that there's a lot of work had been done on ABS. It's now compulsory on certain vehicles. But what about other vehicle technologies? We're seeing a big drive in vehicle technologies in cars, but could more be done on power two-wheelers? Technical inspections, we have some data in our report also about the level of tampering and how tampering machines impacts collisions, and a number of vehicles that had been tampered that were involved in fatal collisions. Could more be done if we had more technical inspections of power two-wheelers? Enforcement speed, as in all road safety, collision speed is a major factor also for power two-wheelers. We need to make sure that power two-wheelers are also that they can also be enforced. So we're thinking about things like if you have cameras from the front and a power two-wheeler is riding with a helmet, they can't be seen if they don't have license plates at the front. There are aspects there that we perhaps need to address. And lastly, protective equipment. We have data in our report also about the number of power two-wheeler users killed in PIN countries that weren't wearing a helmet. And it's definitely still an issue. We have some very high helmet wearing rates, it's true, but there are also areas where we could have, things could be improved. So that's a quick overview of my report. We include some recommendations also from ETSC. I just include a very few of them here, so making a practical test mandatory for the AM licenses, so mopeds, perhaps extending the technical testing, don't lower the minimum age for solo riding, ABS for all motorcycles, and perhaps develop guidelines for improving the infrastructure. And you can find the report on our website here. And as I mentioned, there's also a webinar we held at the end of last year, and the recording is there. Thank you.